Thanks for joining. So today we're going to go over a quick diagram here that you can see, which is the home buying process. And the goal of today's video is to get you a head start in the home buying process. When we meet, we'll go through about an hour of information and documents that will get you started on your way to becoming a homeowner. And the purpose of this one is to get your expectations properly set, to answer some questions, and to just generally help you feel more comfortable and confident moving forward in the home buying process. It does seem fairly simple here, but I'm going to go through some things that are misconceptions and just, again, expectation setting exercises so that you know exactly what's next and what to expect given any situation that we could run into. Of course, it is my job to help you navigate the home buying process and all the things that can come up. But I find that even when we eliminate a lot of the stress throughout the process, that there's just a lot that you want to know. So while you do not have to remember all of this information, it will be helpful to have it be familiarized in advance for you. So just sit back, relax, write down some questions if they come up, and use those as questions for when we meet face to face here, either later today or tomorrow, depending on when you're watching this video. So to start in the top right, you'll see that the first step is to meet with a real estate professional. So by setting that meeting, congratulations, you've taken the first step. We are going to go through the style, price, and location as it says there. And it's something that we probably already did in our first conversation, but we are going to just make sure that those things are correct. You'll realize moving forward, there's a lot of pictures on the internet. There's a lot of different houses that you could buy, and they all have different styles, price ranges, and locations attached to them, and every combination in the middle. So we're going to talk about your haves, the must-haves, and the wants, and the difference of what you want versus what you need. And based on this maybe being your forever home or just a step in the right direction, a house that you're going to have for 3 to 5 years, how do you view each different house and set of criteria differently? So that way when you're looking online and then transitioning that search in person, when we actually go and see houses in person together, what do you need to have? What does the quote unquote perfect house look like to you? So again, first step, meeting with a real estate professional. We're going to go through all of those different house questions and set the expectations, how to best communicate together, what it takes to work well with you, etc. Once we're done meeting, unless you've already done it already, you're going to get pre-approved with a mortgage lender. We have some that we can recommend over to you, and I generally suggest use your gut and pick the one that seems like they're going to be working in your best interest. Most mortgage lenders are going to provide similar loans that you can work with, but they will provide very different levels of customer service. So there's a small range in fees, but a big range in customer service. When dealing with something as important as your home purchase, it's pretty important to have a good customer service fit, someone that you can call and talk to when there's a problem, rather than relying on a 1-800 number or getting bounced around from associate to associate as some of the bigger online companies. You might have seen them in Super Bowl ads and whatnot. So we have some really great mortgage lenders that we recommend. You by no means have to work with them. They are preferred partners of us. We do not get paid by recommending them, nor are we allowed to. They've just become friends of ours over the years by doing great business and treating our customers and clients like family. So again, we have a couple we can recommend. Definitely interview them and know that you have about 30 days in between your first credit pull and the following final ones before your credit is again impacted from reoccurring hits. So within the first month, ideally within the first week, you want to have all of those inquiries done with different lenders. Get your pre-approval. They're going to go through all of your payment information, whether your hourly salary or a 1099 sole proprietor like myself. So they're going to go through information like your W-2s or your 1099s, your bank statements. They're going to look at your credit and see if you have any outstanding balances that need to be addressed, looking at medical debt, student loan debt, child support, all of those different things that could impact you as a home buyer. Those lenders are going to plug your information into computer programs, and they'll tell you what you are or are not able to purchase based on what gets spit out. It's not what they want to tell you always, but sometimes it's what they have to tell you. It's not them making a decision whether they want to give you a loan or not. There are government guidelines involved that they're following, some consumer protections in place, and that's what they're basing it off of. So again, use your gut. They're all great options if we're recommending them to you, and I know that they will give you a great level of service. So choose wisely. Once you do have your pre-approval or pre-qualification in hand, that means that we can go out shopping. That's going to tell you that you're not shopping too high or shopping too low, which both, if you're doing those things, can lead to a negative outcome. If you're looking at houses priced too low and you just don't think there's anything out there for you, or you're shopping too high and then you get hit in the face with reality and you can't afford something that nice, then everything else is not going to look so good to you. It's going to look like you can't afford what you want, but in reality, you were just shopping out of your price range. So we want to make sure that looks accurate so that you're properly shopping with the right expectations. Notice there's a theme there, having the right expectations. That helps this process tremendously. When we do get the green light and go to look for homes, we find that most of our clients do find the perfect home within 4 or 6 showings total. And typically that's split up between 1, 2, or 3 different days looking to go see houses. And again, 4 to 6 houses, believe it or not. So we're not seeing 30 houses or 50 houses or 100 houses. Our job as a realtor is not to open the door for you. It is many houses as you want to see. As much as I do enjoy going to see them, that would be a waste of time for you, unfortunately, as well as for us. We want to nail down what it is you're going to purchase and why. We're going to nail down, like I said, the must-haves versus the wants. We're going to go pretty deep so that you understand when you're looking, are you at least 90% sure that you're going to buy that house before you step foot in the house? Have you seen Google Street View? Have you looked up crime maps if that's an indicator for you? Or the school districts, have you looked them up if that's important to you? Is it close enough to work? Right? Or amenities or hobbies. Those things you want to take a look at in advance of before going to see a house, so that once it checks all those boxes, we do set up a showing to go and look at it. But it takes some coordination to go and see. So when you want to see a house, we need to make sure that myself or a member of our team or one of our EXP colleagues is able to show it to you within the window that you're available. It might take some scheduling to get someone that's qualified and available to go and show you. And then we have to schedule that through the showing service. It goes to the other realtor that's representing the seller, then goes to the seller, then back to their realtor, back to me, and back to you. So that's how we have to go through the chain of command. So if it takes a while to hear back, just know that we're working our fastest and we're getting through a couple of human beings before we can get that approved or rescheduled for you. As we go and see homes, I generally don't suggest seeing more than really 4 in one day, because they all start to blend together after that. So after we see 4 houses, you don't remember which house was on which street, which items you did or did not like. It just starts to mesh together and all looks like one experience. So it becomes counterproductive to go and see more than that. Beyond that, there's not that much inventory in most of our markets. So likely the chances are that there's not more than 4 houses that will fit your criteria for what you will actually want to end up purchasing. There's open houses that you're able to go see on the weekends. That information is on our website, and just know that we can accompany you if you need, but you're more than welcome to attend those open houses on your own as well. If you want to stop by some that meet your criteria, some extra ones, that's up to you. Know that the realtors hosting those open houses are there to collect buyer information so they can find clients. Almost always the realtor hosting the open house is not the realtor selling the house, and they know little to nothing about it besides what you found on the internet. So if you're going to see houses that you're interested in purchasing, let them know you have a realtor and they will leave you alone to just go and take a look at the house. Especially if it's new construction, make sure you let them know you have a realtor when you walk in. Otherwise, know that their sales reps are working for the builder, not for the customers or consumers or the public. They represent the builder, and they will do everything it is to take as much money from you as possible. So if walking into a new build, let them know you have a realtor, sign in and get registered. If you're walking into an open house, feel free to let them know you're working with me. And just know that when you're signing up, it really is for the realtor to have your contact information to reach out to you and try and gain you as their client. That is what open houses are for. So feel free to go and do so. Our website does have everything on there you could want. Every single real estate website gets its information from the exact same place. There's nothing different whether you go searching on realtor.com or Zillow or Trulia or my website. It's just how often they're updated. So my website's updated every 15 to 30 minutes with all of the active information from the multiple listing service. That's where all realtors put all listings. So again, it's all in the same place. The user interfaces are different. They're going to look a little bit different for you as you scroll, but I would suggest you keep it to our website. That way we can communicate through the site. When you favorite a property or view it a bunch of times, you really just fall in love with it, it's actually going to send me a text message. Same thing as when you request a showing or request mortgage information about a specific property, it's going to go right to my phone and notify me immediately so we can stay in communication on top of exactly what you want and what you need. All right, once you want to see a house, again, we're going to schedule it and make sure it works for everybody's schedule. Those showings are generally going to be about 20 to 30 minutes. But once you walk into a house, it takes only about 10 seconds to know whether you're going to buy it or not. You know deep down in your gut whether it's the right house or not based on driving through it in those first couple seconds of how the house makes you feel. It's just how it works. You'll see it if you haven't already in a house. All right, so once you find that perfect home, all right, once that perfect house stands out, you get the butterflies when you walk and you're smiling. You're looking to see all the little nooks and crannies of the house. We can tell that energy is transferable. I can tell that you're excited, even if you don't tell me. And so we're gonna ask you a question after that showing on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being we should burn the house down, and 10 being it's the most perfect home you've ever been in on the perfect piece of land at the perfect price. Where does it fall? And because there's no 10s out there, if it's a 7, 8, or a 9, we're pretty darn close. And at that point, we're going to suggest strongly that you do make an offer because it seems like it's a really great fit for you. And those just don't come up too often. So if you're head over heels for it, you think it's going to make a great option, we're going to suggest that you make an offer on it. And what does that look like? So that's the next step, is the negotiation and the contract. When you make an offer, it's going to take us some time to reach out to the other agent and ask some questions. Typically some questions that they are not supposed to answer, because it's going to help you negotiate better against their client, which is the seller. And so we're going to ask, why are they moving? Where are they going? How soon do they have to be there? What's important to them besides money? Things like that we can use. And we're going to get all those questions answered, ideally, as long as they answer their phone. And then we're going to call you back and talk to you about the structuring of your offer, price and closing date, and what works and lines up between what the seller wants and what you want, right? There's a lot of human beings involved, and we want it to work for everybody. Yes, we're working for the buyer, but we have to make it appealing to the seller for them to accept it. So we're going to keep in mind what they need as well as what you need, so we can see where it lines up. And then again, where we can negotiate against them and make it a stronger offer for you, whether that's price, terms, or a mixture of both. As you submit an offer, you're going to have to sign it. All buyers involved sign it. We'll get the lender letter attached to it. Sellers don't look at offers without the lender letter attached to it. And then we accompany some major features of the offer, kind of like a resume attached with the offer, and send it over. And that offer will have a deadline in which the seller has to respond by then. And that's typically dependent on what the seller said they needed for time to respond, and if there's other people that have already submitted offers and what their deadlines and their offers are. So let's say they've reviewed it. They've got the offer in their inbox. Now what? Now the seller has the ability to say yes to all terms or accept it, no to all terms, which is rejecting it, or they can counter offer, which is yes to all terms except for those outlined in the counteroffer. Anything in the counteroffer is something that they would like to change. So that could just be changing the closing date, moving it up or pushing it back a few days. That could be changing the price of the offer a little bit to something that's more favorable to them, or having one of the fees just paid by the buyer instead of split by buyer and seller. We don't know, but a lot of things are determined by the offer and what boxes are checked and what lines are filled in. So we'll know when we get it back whether they accept, reject, or counteroffer. If they counter offer and you agree to their changes and you sign it, then you are under contract. We're in that escrow period on the bottom left, and that is also called under contract, contingent, pending, under contract. Again, all of those things mean the exact same thing. It just means the seller has accepted your offer or someone's offer, and they're working to get to the closing table with just that one buyer. They're not working at the same time to work with multiple buyers. So that buyer has the right to purchase that house so long as they complete all the steps and it's mutually agreed upon by all parties. In the under contract period, it's going to take between 30 and 45 days typically for your contract to be accepted and then to get the keys at the end for the new house. A couple of main things that happen in there to keep in mind are going to be, first, the earnest money deposits required by Colorado. It's a good faith deposit, typically about 1%, given in a check, cashier's check, or a wire transfer to the title company selected by the seller. That's going to be given with directions from us and our transaction coordinator. So exactly how to fill out the check, or we'll have you call and get the wiring instructions directly from the title company so there's no miscommunication of where to send your money. We want to keep you protected at all times. That happens typically within the first 3 business days, and the title companies close at 5 o'clock. Then we're going to schedule the inspection. The inspection's typically 3 to 5 hours, and we have great inspectors that we can recommend to you that will keep you protected. They're fully insured and have typically about a 1,000 point checklist that they're going to go through, everything inside and everything outside. There's add-ons that we suggest you choose, such as a sewer scope inspection, which if the sewer line's bad, that could save you a lot of money if you get the seller to fix it or decide to purchase another property instead. Things such as radon test, they can leave that test in either a day before or for a day after your inspection and test the radon levels. If you're not familiar with radon, we'll go through that together when the time comes. But those are a couple add-ons to them. They can be anywhere between about $350 for a base inspection on a condo or townhome, all the way up to over $1,000 for every single add-on on large homes that are going to take 4 or 5 hours for them to inspect. You can expect a 50 to 75-ish page report no matter what age the house is and what condition it's in. Even new construction will expect that type of report. The inspectors are going to get everything from a loose light switch to a loose toilet flusher, paint chipping, window seals that are bad, anything you can imagine that looks or seems out of place, they're going to get in their report. And because they're not licensed plumbers or electricians or structural engineers, anything that's even out of place that could require someone licensed, they will say require or request a licensed and insured so-and-so to come out and take a look at it. Don't let it scare you. That is just their job to do and point out, and we'll discuss each and every item. All right, so you can ask for whatever you'd like to be replaced or repaired in that inspection period. We'll just talk about the competition and market conditions at the time to make sure that what you're requesting has a chance of getting repaired and that we're not, based on the seller's personality that we've seen so far, going to upset them, which sometimes there's no coming back from. All right, so after the inspection period and agreeing upon what gets fixed or replaced or credited, then we'll have the lender order your appraisal. Sometimes that's done immediately. Sometimes it's after the inspection period. Typically takes up to 2 weeks to get that appraisal ordered, back, and talked about. We're just hoping for a thumbs up where they're going to say, yes, it's good to go. It came in at or above value. And if it does not come in at or above value, then the buyers typically need to bring some extra cash, the difference of the appraisal and the purchase price. The seller needs to come down that much, or we're meeting in the middle somewhere to come to a deal. So again, depends on the market conditions and the offer, but that is dependent on each and every person involved. So we've got the earnest money 1, the inspection 2, appraisal 3. We're going to request due diligence documents, so things like transferable warranties or work that's recently been completed. That will include an HOA deadline period where if there's an HOA, we get all documents and disclosures from the HOA, their budget to make sure they're not upside down on finances, and to make sure there's no rules in there that are counterintuitive or counterproductive. You know, things that might affect you like dog breed restrictions, parking on the street, RVs, fence heights or restrictions, etc. After all those things are done, you're going to get sent in final underwriting from your lender. Those are the final details. We'll have the appraisal back, the inspection behind us. They're going to make sure you're still employed. that you haven't racked up major credit card bills on furniture or a new car before closing, which you should not do unless you just have a tremendous amount of money and you are not worried about it. But always check with your lender before large purchases, because if you spend too much on your cards or rack up a big credit bill during your transaction before you've become a homeowner, that could ultimately end the ability for you to have a loan. All right, so they're going to do that final check. Once they're done and verified, the final underwriting will be complete and we should get a clear to close. That clear to close is what it sounds like. That means we are ready to close anytime in the next couple of days. And sometimes if both parties agree, we can move up closing and close on a different day sooner than expected in the contract. Then we just have closing. Closing is the easy part. It takes about 1 hour for buyer and seller if both parties are there together, about 45 minutes for a buyer if there's a loan involved, which is pretty much just signing loan documents. All you have to bring with you is your valid state or federal identification, so a valid passport or driver's license or state ID, for example, and the wiring information. So you have to make sure that wire is set up in advance with your lender and the title company. We'll work on that as well, but you want to make sure that it is very much so set up, ready to go on the day of closing, so that when the money transfers, you get the keys and you're a homeowner. So again, we're going to recap real quick. Number one, earnest money once we get approved. Then we're going to get the inspection scheduled. That's something that you pay for. The appraisal will get scheduled through the lender. That's something that you pay for as well. Those are the two non-recoverable or non-refundable costs, equal about $1,000 or a little over $1,000. The seller will get us due diligence documents and HOA documents if necessary. You'll go through final underwriting, and once everything is good to go, we'll close. But just remember, at the very beginning, after the step that we're at now, we're going to start to look at houses. We're going to find a couple that are a really good match for you. You're going to be looking on our website and sending them to us. We're going to be spending our time looking off market, ideally at homes that are not yet for sale, cold calling and prospecting for homeowners that have not yet decided to sell, in the attempt to find you a better deal than what you can find in the market. Our team's always working really hard for you towards your best interest, because what's in your best interest is in ours, and we are really just so much working towards your goals and your aspirations here. That is what keeps us going. So if you have any questions about this, bring those questions to me when we meet in person, and just write them down, shoot them over in a text or an email if you can't wait. But we look forward to meeting with you and answering all your questions, getting you fully set and ready to go moving forward. I think we spent enough time going through this, so enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully answered some questions, helped set the right expectations for you in the home buying process, and gets you one step closer to your new set of keys. Have a great day.